If you need truth, this is the place for you. Don't need to complicate it. It's best to keep it basic. Open the book, the word itself approved. He's Alpha and Omega, the answer since the early ages. What you should do is learn about the greatest. Just so you know, our door is always open. Let's study together instead of debating. Share our differences. Let love heal all that's broken. If you need truth, this is the place for you. Don't need to complicate it. It's best to keep it basic. Open the book, the word itself approved. He's Alpha and Omega, the answer since the early ages. What you should do is learn about the greatest. Just so you know, our door is always open. Let's study together instead of debating. Share our differences. Let love heal all that's broken.
And shalom to everyone. So glad to be with you, hear you, and see you today. It's a joy to be around you. It's a joy to be with you. Let us talk about what the word of Yahweh, who is our Elohim, has to say and looks to do in, and more importantly, for our lives. This is another opportunity to bring glory into our lives of who he is. Let us prepare our hearts. And if you know better, go ahead and get this room shared, chat about this. Somebody go into my chats, please, and delete. Thank you. Thank you very much. We want to make sure that we're doing what Yahweh would for us to do here today. That's all we're about. That's all we want to know about. That's all we care about. And to him be glory, to him be honor, to him be, as we already know, praise. Let's get started. We got a lot to talk about today in our eschatology and tour for duty. My name is Apostle V.W. Jones Sr. Welcome to the DKM Ministries under VWJ Ministries. And we have a lot for us to learn about and to share about as we talk about many of the different things that has been a part of Yahweh's purpose for us. And those things are going to be a part of, as you can see on the screen, future things. We've already talked about a little bit of this, the rapture of the church, the revelation of the anti-Messiah, the revelation of the 144,000. And today we are stuck in, and yet we are working from the concept of what we know to be the future things, i.e. the Great Tribulation. And so while we're talking about the Great Tribulation, I wanted to be very clear to you that many people don't know what actually is going to happen and how things will develop. But today you are, as we always say here, gonna learn today. If you are in fact on our broadcast for the video feeds for YouTube and or Facebook, we are going to ask you to please like, comment, subscribe. And if you are with us on Clubhouse, please share, comment in our chat box and share the room and maybe even ping someone in. So we're so glad to have each and every one of you who are here. We want microphones given to all that are in our audience so that questions can be asked as we talk about this great tribulation period. All right, let us take opportunity to pray. Father, we come before you in the mighty name of Yeshua HaMashiach. We bless and exalt you because of who you are and why you are in our lives. There is literally none like you in all the earth. And today is a day where your word and your glory are made evident and real for us. We give you preeminence. We give you the glory. We give you the honor. And we're asking you to grace us with your complete and total wisdoms. In the mighty name of Yeshua HaMashiach, I decrease the flesh of V.W. Jones, that the spirit of Adonai would increase and the power of his word would be heard. Father, teach us and we will learn. Show us and we will see. Speak to us. We desire to hear your how do I say it, Yahweh? You're unadulterated is the best way, I guess. I try to find another word, but it's the unadulterated word. Help us now to realize your truths and your evidences. I ask you to commandeer this vessel, use it as you see fit. And Father, I speak only your words. Please keep your words alone on my tongue for your people. In the mighty name of Yeshua HaMashiach, we all pray and we all say, Amen. All right, everybody. Again, we're here for what we have to do today, and that is to talk about the great things that come on from what we've been discussing for some time and for some years now. Now, I want to be very careful here when we enter into this particular study today, because there's a lot of dynamics that go along with this type of teaching. And we've been giving you guys quite a bit over these last 2 months. Yeah, we're about 2 months into this teaching. And as you know, we're talking about the future things. We'll talk more about that. I have a clean blackboard, whiteboard here for you guys today, because I want to do some pictorials for you that help many people, I guess, see it better. Because once you see it, once you read it, you can't forget it. All right. And I want to make sure that we all get that. So we're in our camouflage because we're on our tour of duty. Somebody say, I'm a soldier in the army of Yahweh. Come on, can y'all say that? Say, I'm a soldier in the army of Yahweh. Now, we've been saying that for a long time, but we truly, if we're going to be clear to that, true to that, and about that, we have to recognize what that looks like. So in this, we are his soldiers, his army. And he has shown us what he wants to do, how he wants to do it, and more importantly, why he wants to do it. So the issue is, do we as military in the kingdom know what Yahweh is doing, or are we going to be floundering around hoping to have our armor on right? You know, we don't want to be like those 10 virgins, 5 of which were foolish. We want to be like the 5 of which that were wise. And those 5 that were foolish, they dressed like the kingdom. They talked like the kingdom, but they were not prepared. Though they had the apparatus of the kingdom, they did not keep their wick cleaned. They did not have oil in their lamp, so that when the announcement of the Messiah, when the bridegroom came, they were ready to go in. And at that moment, no matter how tight you and the other 5 virgins were that were ready and wise, no matter how much you were hanging out with them and y'all did this and y'all partied here, y'all turned up over there, and y'all had all night prayer over here, and y'all did labor and intercessory prayer over there, and y'all did a prophetic conference over here. It doesn't matter how tight y'all are. In that day, you need to have your own. You can't make it into this feast on somebody else's coattails. So when the 5 unwise asked the 5 wise for oil, they was like, I love y'all, but you had the same book I had. You had the same instructions. I know you did, because you got the same lamp I got. You got the same kind of wick I got, but you didn't think it was necessary to get this oil. So you got to get your own oil. You better go see if the places on this Sabbath are not closed and go buy oil, or check over there, because I got enough for me to get, and I don't know where we going. So I got my oil, and I need to make sure I got it for me. I mean, we partied, we hung out, we did what we did. We had church, we did conferences, we speak of Moshandai all over the Kadanba. And at the end of the day, you got to have your own. So you mean to tell me you was fronting? You look like we was a part of this. You acted like you believed in it, but you didn't believe in it enough to get it inside of you. So you had no oil, and your wick was horrid. It wasn't even clean and ready to burn to save your life. I want y'all to understand that these are the things that we got to consider and look at while we're looking at the things of Yahweh. So let's talk about those future things. Are you ready? The future things we talked about previously are very significant, but here they are very quickly for everybody to view. You can go, moderators, please, my platform. You got to understand that, never mind, I'll take care of it. You got to make sure that everything is as it needs to be when it comes to future things. You have the rapture of the church. Remember, the dead in Messiah shall rise first. When shall that happen? Does anybody know when the dead in Christ will rise first? The dead in Messiah rise first? Anybody know? When the dead in Messiah will rise first? Come off mic, say your name. Anybody know? All right, I'll help everybody out. The dead in Messiah shall rise when the trump of Elohim shall sound. The dead in Messiah shall rise first, and we who are alive and remain shall be caught up together to meet him in the air, and that we shall be forever with him. Now, if in fact you miss the trumpet, you will miss the rapture. That trumpet represents and typifies the rapture. It tells us what Yahweh is going to do. I gave you guys an extensive timeline that we've been using for several weeks. I'll maybe bring that back up today, but I want you to understand that those are the passages of the writ that support the things that we're talking about here. The dead in Messiah shall rise first, and these are future things that will happen. Then there's going to be a great sign of the anti-Messiah, the revealing of who the anti-Messiah is. And some of y'all, it's going to be shocking to you, but it shouldn't be, because I've been telling y'all who it is for the longest. And that is going to where the anti-Messiah is going to come from. That next future thing will be, again, who the anti-Messiah is, as talked about in Daniel's chapter number 8, verses 23 to 25, as talked about in Revelation chapter 13, verses 1 through 8. And you also saw it in 2 Thessalonians 2, verse through 2. So now we know those things are future things. And then after the revealing of the anti-Messiah, the, as you call, Antichrist, you're then going to have the future things that deal with the revealing of the 144,000. Yes, there will be 144,000 that will help those who can still be saved after the rapture to be saved. And those will be primarily those of Israel, the bloodline. Anyone of the bloodline of Israel will still have the opportunity to be saved if they miss the rapture. And then the only other ones will be they themselves and those who have never heard the gospel. And that's going to be just the truth of that. Now, the next part we came into was the Great Tribulation, because we're going to be dealing with the tribulation. That's the period of time you're going to be in after the rapture. But then there's these 3.5 years that are just going to be cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. Crazy, like never, ever seen on the earth before. And we talked about this when we dealt with chapter number 11 on our broadcast last week. And today we're going to get into chapter number 16. So I want everybody to go to Revelation chapter 16. I'll do my best to bring you guys back up to speed, but I don't want to waste a whole bunch of time, because I know this when I have to do the timeline again, I lose a great deal of time going back over it. So what I'm going to say to you, for the benefit of those who have been loyal and faithful to this coursing this whole time, make sure you go back and get the reviews and the previews of this, and the reviews rather, and the archives of what we've been teaching all this time. So right now we're going to go Revelations chapter number 16 is where we're going to go to. Revelations 16. Let's get there. Let's talk about it. You ready? Look at this. This is what the word says. I'm not making any of this up. Okay. Actually, let's go back. Yeah, let's do that. Revelation chapter 16. He says, and I heard, I'm going to put my Bible on the board for you guys so we can all see it together. Yeah, we'll do it this way. Revelation chapter 16, verse 1 says, and I heard a great voice out of the temple saying to the 7 angels, go your ways. 7 angels. Now, mind y'all, we're in the Great Tribulation. I gotta give this analogy on the board. So if you guys are looking on the board, it'll help you right now to do that. Remember the timeline we gave you. There is the rapture that takes place. Timeline. Boom. Bam. This is the timeline of life, right? So we pick up in here. The rapture is going to be down here. When that rapture sounds, that trump of God shall sound. Sukkah. That's going to be the rapture. When the rapture takes place, immediately after the rapture, it's going to run us into what is known as the actual time of tribulation, right? That's what it's going to be called, the time of tribulation. This is so deep, and I want everybody to get it. This is called the tribulation period, okay? Tribulation period. Now, midway through the tribulation period at 3.5 years, 3.5, and then there'll be 3.5 years, you're going to find what we call the abomination of desolation. Let me just split this right down the center here. Boom. This is going to be the Great Tribulation. All of this back here is the Great Tribulation period, okay? That's what we call it, the Great Tribulation period. This is when all this stuff is happening, because here is where you have the abomination of desolation. And what that means in general terms for laity. The abomination of desolation is the revealing of the anti-Messiah. Okay? Now, I have that on the board. The anti-Messiah, meaning he is the anti, some say in the Greek and English, the anti-Christ. Christ is the word translated into from the word Messiah. So he's everything against Messiah, which means he's against the word. Now, how I know this is going to be very compelling for some of you is because the anti-Messiah and his office is already existing today. I am a firm believer that the three elements I taught you before that are going to be prevalent in those last days is going to be the prophet of Elohim, prophets of Elohim, and we know them to be Yeshua himself. We also know them to be Elijah and Moshe. And then you have a second element, which will be the false prophets, right? And then you have a third element, which will be the anti-Messiah. So I want to be very clear about this, and y'all look at the board for a second. What does that mean? I got to move quickly to 16, but look at this. In the Bible, you have Father Abraham. Okay, Abraham is responsible. He is given credit for three monotheisms. One of them is Judaism. The other is Christendom. Matter of fact, let me put them in better order. So those of you who are on Clubhouse, you can go and view this online on VWJ Ministries on Facebook and or VWJ Ministries on YouTube. So here you have, and I'll do this first, Ishmael, which would be Islam, pardon me. Abraham is responsible for three monotheisms. One monotheism is Islam. Father Abraham. Another is Judaism. And the third is Christendom. Now, three major things that are going to happen during this time are going to be connected to these three issues. You're going to have the false prophets. We firmly believe the false prophets will come out of the element of Islam. You're going to have the three major prophets. You're going to have the true prophets, which will be Moshe and Elijah. The true prophets of Elohim will come out of Judaism. But watch this. What also came out of Judaism, which will bring everything back for us into truth, is in fact the Mashiach. He returns and he is a part of Judaism. Got it? All of this is going on, guys, in the Great Tribulation period, or at least this part of the tribulation throughout the end of time as we know it today, before the coming of the new place. Now, out of Christendom will flow, watch this, the anti-Mashiach. No, what are you talking about? Yeah, I believe that out of Christendom, and where Christendom began is out of element of Catholicism, I believe that the anti-Messiah will be what you and I know today as the modern day Pope. Out of Islam, their ministry is all about the prophet Elijah, the messenger. And you then have the true prophet and the actual Messiah in out of Judaism, born out of the tribe of Judah. And then you have in here the anti-Messiah. And if the church ain't anti-Elohim right now, I promise you, we're talking deeper than y'all think. So out of Abraham came those three monotheisms. Those three monotheisms will present throughout the book of Revelations and its teachings, the false prophet. They will also produce the Messiah himself, which they have. Moshe, Elijah will come back and die in the earth and die out. And then Christendom will be responsible for producing what we know as the anti-Mashiach. Now, mind you, when I say Christendom, I mean the construct of the original faith system called Christianity. You and I are Protestant Christians, and we believe that this Pope, this anti-Messiah, will be of the office of the Pope. If you think that I'm weird or strange about that, or you think that I'm coming for them, I need you to go back and look at what the Pope is doing. Right now, he is propagating that Jesus is almost an ancillary element, that Yeshua is an ancillary element, and we don't need to give as much time and attention to it, though it is the crux of Christendom. And then that the Torah particularly is something obsolete. That would mean one of the woes would fall to whoever teaches such abomination. Because if you don't have the Torah, you don't have the kingdom of Elohim. Okay, so here are where your elements will come from for that feast, that period of time in the end times, which is what we're in. All right, and so once that rapture takes place, Sukkah, that trump of the God shall sound, then the Messiah rise first. Then the rapture is going to kick in. The rapture kicks in. There's going to be 7 years of tribulation. Those 7 years of tribulation will be split into 3.5 years. The first year will be them with the anti-Messiah, producing peace, earning trust of the people on the globe that are left that missed the rapture. In that first call, there will be bloodline of Israel left on the planet who will be able to be saved. There will be Goyanim, or what we call Gentiles, non-bloodline of Israel, who will be left on the planet because they never heard the gospel, never were given the option to be saved, to make Yeshua their choice, had not been properly presented to them. And then the 144,000 will come and deal with those two groups, those who never heard the gospel and those who are of the bloodline of Israel and primarily into Orthodox Judaism, or even if not, they will be given their gift is that they will be given the opportunity in the tribulation period to still be saved. Anybody else, if you come out of Christendom or you come out of Islam and you're not a part of the bloodline of Israel, or you come out of Abraham and you're in Islam and you're a part of Ishmael and whatever else, Midian and whatever the Keturah's sons are, all of that, you still are going in to that end. So at that day, at that time, in this year of the 7 years tribulation, if you miss the rapture, unless you are the bloodline of Israel, unless you are Goyanim who have never had the chance to hear and thereby make a decision to let Yeshua be your savior, you won't have a chance to be saved in and after the rapture, in the tribulation period after the rapture. So anybody who misses the rapture, you in the tribulation, it's forever too late. Except those two groups of people who will be ministered to by the 144,000. Now we're caught up. All right, that took me 10 minutes, too long. All right, so I gave you that because I think you need to know that as we move into Revelations chapter number 16. We already did Revelations chapters 6, 8, 9, and 11. Now we got to get into chapter 16 to understand even greater what goes on and what's going to go on in the years of the Great Tribulation. So let's pay attention to all of that. I'm going to remove this off the screen. I'll leave it up there because we're going to read for a minute. I hope it's not too cluttery so you guys can see everything clearly. We're in the book of Revelations. We're going to start with chapter number 16. Let's get into what the word says, not what man says. Revelation 16 says, "And I heard the voice out of the temple saying to the 7 angels, go your ways and pour out your vials of the wrath of Elohim on the earth. And the first angel went out and poured out his vial on the earth. And there fell a noisome and grievous sore upon the men which had the mark of the beast, and upon them which worshipped his image." Well, let me help y'all with who those people are and what that looks like. Now, I didn't give y'all my Bible. I should have done that. I'm sorry. But in that time, as it states very clearly, you are going to see that there's going to be an angel that goes out. Now, I'm going to make this clear. Everybody who missed the rapture that is a Christian or claimed to be a Christian, all right, that did not make the rapture, who is still on the earth. I want to be very clear. Everybody must understand that when the rapture takes place, the earth will still be functioning in a similar form some facsimile of what it is today. There'll still be commerce. There'll still be education. There'll still be military. There'll still be politics and governments. There'll still be nations against nations. There will be a unification, and this anti-Messiah will be what's putting in the time after the rapture a coalition together to create a one world finance, a one world faith, and a one world government. You need to understand that that's going to happen. It's already in motion now. You're just not seeing it, but you will. You don't want to. So anyway, so during that period of the first 3.5 years, they'll be fortifying their correlations and they're fortifying their confederations into the one world order. And in the Great Tribulation, some other things are going to happen. There's going to be some locusts that look like, the locusts. Y'all know about that locust? Woo! Anyway, and then you're going to see this stuff happen where Yahweh is going to have 7 angels pour out a vial of his wrath, 7 vials of his wrath. His indignation shall be poured on the earth with the people left on the earth after the rapture. Now, in the Great Tribulation, many who will say they want to receive Messiah will be slain of the bloodline of Israel. Their blood will be the blood of the martyrs under the altar, that you hear the prayers coming up from the altar at that time, and what we reference in Revelation. So those bloodlines, those of that bloodline, and those of the Goyanim who accepted Yeshua as Messiah did not take the mark of the beast. They will in fact be a part of that. So they will be under, their blood will be under the altar. They will be the martyred, and Yahweh will not yet come and redeem them, but they will be dead in the earth, and their blood will be under the altars. That's what it typifies. Then you have those who accept the mark of the beast, both of the bloodline of Israel and or of the Goyanim that didn't have the right or didn't have the choice, didn't have the information, and now they got the information. They still chose the beast. They still chose the mark of the beast, and that's how they were able to barter in the world during these 7 years. So now Yahweh says, everybody who's still on the earth and accepted the mark of the beast and is worshiping the dragon and the beast, I want you to pour out my vial in this way on them. So I need y'all to realize, and I'm going to do this real quick on the board. You know what the 7 years are. You know what the 3.5 years are. Let me move these prophets and Abraham off. You know now who the anti-Messiah is going to be. I don't need to make that clear anymore. Let's now look at what happens with this earth. There will be a earth, right? And it's going to still have human beings on it that did not make the rapture. There will be 1/3 of the earth that's going to have, if I can just mark this out this way, 1/3 of the earth, which will be just like no water. The water's dried up. The grass is burnt up. There'll be pestilence all inside of the water. 1/3 of the earth will be, there's just so much that's going to be going on. But there'll still be the earth, and there'll still be people on the earth. And Yahweh now in these 7 vials you're about to see, going to pour out his 7 vials upon the earth and all the inhabitants on the earth as they have been gathered together. Now remember, Jerusalem is still on the earth. Jerusalem is still on the earth. I'll put it here. I'll leave it somewhere over here. Just making a mark. Jerusalem and the Holy Land is still on the earth. There'll still be people on the earth. There'll still be people on the earth all over the planet, multiple nations, by nations, and all that. It's going to be people on the earth still, even in these desolate areas where there's no water and the green earth is burnt up. All of this is happening. Just so y'all get a visual on this. Don't turn it off yet. Don't stop looking yet. We're going to read the writ in a second. We're going to read the prophecy of Revelations of Yeshua HaMashiach in just a second. But I want you to get a visual of what the earth looks like. This is earth. This is earth during the Great Tribulation. Got it? Now watch. Yahweh says he's going to have his 7 angels come, and what they're going to do is very interesting. They're going to follow his instructions, something humanity oftentimes failed to do. Verse number 1. Look at this passage. Let's look at it in the writ. Verse 1 says, "And I heard a great voice out of the temple saying to the 7 angels, go your ways, pour out the vials of wrath of Elohim upon the earth. And the first went and poured out his vial upon the earth, and there fell such a noisome and grievous sore upon the people, upon the men which had the mark of the beast, and upon them which worshipped his image. Now, this word sore, this grievous sore, let's look at it quickly. When you look into your Strong's Index, the word sore here in verse 2 is the word G1668. It's the word hakos. It means ulcers. So there are going to be ulcers that are going to befall the people on the earth, that the angel of Elohim, Yahweh Sabaoth, is going to pour upon his creation. This is his pouring out of his indignation and the pouring out of his wrath. Verse 3 says, and the second angel came and poured out upon the sea, and the sea became as the blood of dead men. Wait a minute. So the remaining sea, look up at the board here. So the remaining sea, we've already shown you that one third of the ocean, one third of the waters is already going to be messed up. That's what this black spot is on this pie I gave you, which is supposed to be the image of the earth. So what I'll do is I'll make it better for y'all. I'll give y'all some greenery in here so you can see what parts we can just make some kind of imagery that this is, you know, Adoma, you know, and the rest of it is, you know, ocean. So we have that there. So we understand that this is the earth, this is the green earth and all that stuff. And these spaces in between the green earth that are not the green earth, they're going to be called the waters, the remaining waters. And we'll just keep the green earth simple. All right. It's what it is. Those are the green earth that's left, that's not been burnt up. And then the blue and the white, the clear inside that is going to be the waters. So what he is saying is, in this passage, there is going to be now a second angel who is going to cause the waters and the seas to be like dead men. So that means that there are going to be other areas of the waters. Look at this. This is deep. He says he's going to pour out this vial upon the sea, and the sea became as the blood of dead men, and every living soul died in the sea. So the waters are going to be just as bad. They're going to be as dead. It's going to be wet, but man, you don't want to drink none of that. It is not healthy. He's pouring out his wrath on the actual waters. And Yahweh knows how to concoct whatever he needs to put on the waters to make them not what he designed them to be when he made them. All right? So that's what you got to understand. Looking at that water, all that black means death, burnt, and no good water. That's a lot of no good water and a lot of dirt. And now you got the oceans and the seas. So it doesn't say that the ponds are going to be messed up. It doesn't say that your little lakes are going to be messed up yet. It doesn't say the little mineral springs inside the earth that push up your little gushers. You might have some well water still working, but watch what it says here. Verse number 3 says, and the second angel poured out his vial upon the sea. It became as the blood of the dead men, and every living soul died in the sea. Verse 4 says, and the third angel poured out his vial upon the rivers and the fountains of the waters, and they became as blood. Sound familiar? Yep. Look at verse number 5. This is interesting to me. I don't know how we ever thought we could just bypass the instructions he gave. Verse 5 says, and I heard the angel of the waters say, thou art righteous, Adonai, which art and was and shall be, because you judged thus. For they have shed the blood of saints and prophets and have given them blood to drink. So therefore, they are worthy. I'll read verse 6 again. For they, these people, have shed the blood of the saints and of the prophets. And Yahweh, you have given them, Adonai, you have given them blood to drink, for they are worthy. Wow. Verse 7 goes on to say, and I heard another angel out of the altar say, another voice out of the altar say, even so, Adonai our Elohim, True and righteous are your judgments. Sounding familiar even more and more each day. Verse 8 says, and the fourth angel poured out his vial on the sun, and the power was given unto him, to scorch men with fire. Okay, so the water is deadly, and now the sun in the sky, the ozone layer seems to be gone here. It appears that there's no protection on the earth from the rays of the sun any longer. It looks as if, and I can be scientific for a little small piece here, that the actual earth is now subject to the radiation rays of the sun. And this angel came to strip away what was remaining of the ozone layer or whatever. You know what? Let me not even say the ozone layer. Let me back up on that science piece. Let me just read what the writ says to y'all, because I want to touch something later. He says, and the fourth angel poured out his vial on the sun, and the power was given him to scorch men with fire. So let's just understand, forget the ozone layer piece, because we will be back on this earth. Those who made the rapture are going to come back to the earth. The repair of that, I don't know. But at the end of the day, this angel is going to pour his power on the sun. So whatever he has in this time frame to do damage to the earth, he's been given power to scorch humanity on the earth with fire. Yeah, that's what it says right there. Verse 9 says, and men were scorched with great heat, and in their efforts to complain, they blasphemed the name of Elohim, which has power over all these plagues. And they repented not to give Elohim glory. All right. We do some stuff. I'm going to put on the board so y'all can read it again, because I know I read it without y'all, but I want y'all to see it. I'm going to put it on the board one more time. Look at this. Verse number 9 says, and the men were scorched with great heat, and they blasphemed the name of Yahweh or Elohim, which hath caused or hath power over these plagues, and they repented not to give him glory. And the fifth, we got to move to the fifth angel. They, in their pain, they blasphemed. They wouldn't even give him. Anyway. Let me go to verse number 10. And the fifth angel poured out his vial upon the seat of the beast, and his kingdom, the beast's, was full of darkness, and they gnawed on their tongues because of the pain. And they blasphemed the God of Shemaim, because their pains and their sores, and they repented not for their deeds. Are y'all understanding the weeping and gnashing of teeth part here? Nobody? Absolutely. This is in the Great Tribulation period, y'all. Yes. This is before the heaven and the earth disappear. This is before the heaven and the earth are done away with and a new Jerusalem come down from heaven. This is before the Battle of Armageddon, y'all. That's why it told us back in chapter 6, this will be like never before seen on this earth. So this third rock from the sun, you and I sitting on right now, tearing up, killing, putting plastics, contaminating the seas, killing the grass. This earth we were told to till the ground on. This earth is going to have that for the humans on it before the Battle of Armageddon, before the millennial reign. And there, y'all gonna get this in a minute. And thereby, this earth will have had what it's never had to encounter all of its existence, taking place inside of these 3.5 years. That's why it's called the Great Tribulation. I'm sorry that most Christians don't know how to explain this. Most theologians don't know how to break it down. But y'all don't scoff at this. Don't not read the book of Revelation because you're afraid of horror movies. This is going to be something you don't want to see. You don't want to pay a ticket to see. The best thing you can do right now is read about it before it happens. Hopefully, it will cause you and me to make sure we're not here when these things come to pass. Can I get somebody to say, I don't want to be here?
I don't want to be here. I don't want to be here. I do not want to be here.
Look at verse number 11. Let's get back into the writ now. He says, and these people were so angry and so full of themselves, they didn't even repent. They didn't even like, God, I'm sorry. I messed up. I should have known better. Right? Okay. Verse 11 says, and Elohim, and they blast the Elohim of Shamaim because of their pains and their sores, and they repented not for their deeds. Verse 12 says, and the sixth angel, poured out his vial upon the great river Euphrates, and the water thereof was dried up, that the way of the kings and the east might be prepared. Whoa. So Euphrates dried up so that the way of the kings of the east might be prepared. Are y'all following this? So if you dry up the delta, getting pathway into Jerusalem from other nations now is going to be dried up, and they can walk across some of the land because the Euphrates is other kings are going to be coming over to do war with Jerusalem. They're preparing the way for the kings of the east to come. Now, this is where it gets really good. Pay attention. Verse number 13 says, and I saw 3 unclean spirits like frogs come out of the mouth of the dragon, and out of the mouth of the beast, and out of the mouth of the false prophets. For they are the spirits of devils working miracles, which will go forth unto the kings of the earth and unto the whole world who's blaspheming the name of Elohim of Shemaim, and to gather them to come to battle of that great day of El Shaddai. Verse 15. I'm sorry. You know what? I didn't have y'all reading this. Do y'all want to read it with me? Let's go back. If we can reread it again, say if it's okay to read it again, say read it again, Apostle. I want y'all to get it. I want y'all to get it. Let's start at verse 11. I'm going to put it on the screen. Pay attention. Look at it. Read it. And blaspheme the name of Yahweh our Elohim Yahweh our Elohim, Elohim of Shamaim, Elohim of heaven, because of their pains and their sores. Verse 12. And the 6th angel poured out his vial upon the great river Euphrates, whereof dried up, whereof. Let me repeat verse 12. The 6 angels poured out his vial upon the great river Euphrates, and the water thereof was dried up, that the way of the kings of the east might be prepared. Does all these plagues and the water drying up sound familiar to anybody?
Yes, it does.
What's it sound familiar to, y'all? It sounds like an Exodus, don't it?
Yeah.
It sounds like a new day coming, don't it? Oh, come on. All right, let me move on. Verse number 13 says, and I saw 3 unclean spirits like frogs come out of the mouth of the dragon, and out of the mouth of the beast, and out of the mouth of the false prophet. For they are the spirits of devils working miracles. Verse 14, which goes forth unto the kings of the earth, who, by the way, just had Euphrates dry up so they can make the way for the kings of the earth and the whole world, to gather them to battle for that great day of El Shaddai. Verse 15 says, behold, I come as a thief. Blessed is he that watches and keeps his garments, lest he walk naked and they see his shame. He gathered them together into a place, listen, in the Hebrew tongue called what, y'all?
Armageddon.
Y'all know we didn't have to make this as difficult of a lesson in Christendom as we have, right? Y'all know that? So look at my graph on the board. Let's look at the graph on the board. I want y'all to see this. I'm gonna do some stuff to it so y'all can catch it. So here's the earth. You see what's going on with it. It's still populated. There's still world. There's still finance. There's still faith. There's still religion, but it's not Elohim, right? It's the world's way of doing it. I'm going to push back this piece right here to let y'all know what this looks like. So here's the Great Tribulation. I'm pushing it back. Great Tribulation. I'm pushing it back so y'all can know what this is. Look at it. Come on. I want you to get it. Don't be shy now. Pay attention. Look. This is the Great Tribulation period, 3.5 years, and they're being prepped. They're being prepped for what would become the Battle of Armageddon. Watch, because this gets real deep. So this is Earth. Changing your timeline for you. So the Great Tribulation period is here. They are being prepped right now by the sixth angel to help push them towards a marker in time called y'all with this? Y'all see this? They're being pushed towards the time of Armageddon. Now this is significant. Let me back these words up so y'all can see this better. Pay attention, because y'all been taught this is all scary and oh my God. Now, look at it closely so you can see what has to happen here. Spelled Armageddon wrong. So they're looking for this moment here, this break in time. They're preparing for this battle right now by the sixth angel. And Yahweh is forcing them into that moment. Can y'all say Yahweh is in control? Yeah, watch what I mean when I tell y'all that. Look at this. Verse number 16, and he gathered them together into a place called the Hebrew tongue Armageddon, and the seventh angel poured out his vial into the air. And there came a great voice out of the temple of heaven from the throne saying, can anybody tell me what he said? Can anybody tell me what he said?
It is done.
He said, it is done. And there were voices and thunders and lightnings, and there was great earthquake, such as was not since men were upon the earth. So there's no earthquake you and I experience now, have experienced in our past, or will ever experience that will be like this earthquake. Such as was not since, verse 18, such as was not since men were on the earth. So mighty a earthquake and so great. Verse 19. And the great city was divided into 3 parts. And the cities of the nations fell. Great Babylon came in remembrance before Elohim to give unto her the cup of the wine of the fierceness of his wrath. And every island fled away. And the mountains. Man, what kind of earthquake was that? Do y'all realize there's no more mountains? It hit different, don't it, when you take your time and read it? And the mountains were not found. And there fell upon men a great hail out of heaven, every stone. Wait a minute. There's hail. Every stone weighing about the weight of a talent. Let me just tell you what a talent is. And the Greek makes this, its translation, the word talentios, right? The talent is like the weight of a talent. So it comes from 5007. It's the balance. It's a certain weight thence of a coin. The talent. Hold on. Let me see if I got my, what I want to give y'all is this. My dake. Anybody got a dakes out there? Nobody has a dakes annotated Bible out there? Mine is here, but I think I left it home. It's actual.
Sure.
66 pounds. Did y'all hear me?
Yes, sir. I did. That's a lot.
Y'all didn't hear me. A weight of a talent is 66 pounds. Let's just say the average of 60 pounds. Y'all know. I don't think you know why I'm pausing here, and the real reason I'm pausing. The weight of a talent falling out of the heavens to the earth is going to be somewhere between 60 and 71 pounds. U.S. weight.
Yeah.
Am I about to, are y'all understanding this? Who can survive that kind of a hit? You can barely survive a hit of a penny drop from the top of the what's the tower in New York? The Empire State Building. From what I understand, the penny will drop from that height and it has the ability to literally drive through the top of your head from that distance, from that force. A penny. This is going to be a 60 to 70 pound piece of hail. Not one. Let's read the writ. Verse 17. And the seventh angel poured out his vial into the air, and there came a great voice out of the temple. It's done. Verse 18. Voices and thunderings and lightnings and great earthquakes. Verse 19. And the great city was divided. Nations fell. The fierce wrath of his cup was poured out. Verse 20. Every island fled away, and the mountains were not found. Verse 21. And there fell upon men on the earth great hail out of heaven, not one stone, but every stone, about the weight of a talent.
Yeah, definitely.
And the men still shook their fists and blasphemed Elohim because of the plague of the hail, and the plague thereof was exceeding great. Remember when I told you? Do y'all remember what I told you in the Great Tribulation? If you missed the rapture, you feel everything. You feel the locusts biting on you with teeth like lions and tails of a scorpion and armor on their chest. You feel the thirst from the dearth that he's done to the earth. You feel the taste of the water that you will try to take and it will you consume and makes you sick. You will feel the hail drop out of heaven and you won't be able to die.
Wow. That's living in heaven.
Does it hit different? Y'all just think Apostle tripping, because I am reading it from the book of Revelation of Yeshua HaMashiach. This is not just some weird thing. This is All right, so let me finish reading verse number 21. And there fell upon men a great hail out of the heaven. This is why it's called the Great Tribulation. Yahweh is not going to have the believers live through this and then come and get y'all out. Some might say, I am pre-tribulation all the way, and hallelujah.
I'm pre-tribulation.
Y'all think Yahweh gonna make y'all go through this mess, fighting locusts? So many of them that they cover the sun, fighting all these different hails and earthquakes and running the rocks. You can't die after the rapture unless you are the 144, or you are the two prophets, or you are in fact the bloodline of Israel, or you are the Goyim that did not have a chance to accept him. And if you accept the mark of the beast and choose not to accept him, then you can't die either. The ones that will die will be those that accepted the mark. They will be martyred. Those Jews that come back and say, Yeshua was Mashiach, we messed up, I accept him, they will die, and they will die under the altar. Their blood will be under the altar. But if they do not and they accept the mark of the beast, they stay in bed with the anti-Messiah, this is what everybody will be feeling. This is the earth everybody will be experiencing. Remember the waters, y'all. Remember the waters. Are y'all learning anything? Is this intriguing to anybody? Y'all like, oh, he just full of hot air. Okay.
I'm learning. Deep, sir.
Let's go to chapter 17. Are y'all ready for this? Anybody want to be here to feel that plague or the hail?
No, sir. Not me.
Chapter 17, book of Revelations. And there came one of the seven angels which had the seven vials and talked with me, says Yochanan, saying unto Yochanan, come hither. I want to show you the judgment of the great whore. Remember when he says, only with your eyes shall you see the reward of the wicked?
Yes. Yes.
Bada bing, bada boom. There you go. Do I got to explain that one? Do I have to explain that one? It's Bible study. Pretty clear, huh? So he tells them, I'll reread verse 1 because I want you to really get this. And there came one of the seven angels which came to John, who was writing, he is seeing this from the Isle of Patmos. It's not happening. It happens in the spirit realm. He is in the spirit on the Sabbath day, and Yahweh is revealing to him everything that's going to happen in the end times. He says, and one of the angels came to him, having one of the seven vials, and talked with him, saying, come up here. I want to show you the judgment of the great whore, who sits upon many waters, with whom the kings of the earth have committed fornication, and the inhabitants of the earth have been made drunk with the wine of her fornication. So he carried me away in the spirit, verse 3, y'all, into the wilderness, and I saw a woman sit upon a scarlet colored beast, full of names of blasphemy, having 7 heads and 10 horns. Now, I'm going to just keep reading. I'll give you all the rest later. Verse 4 says, and the woman was arrayed in purple, scarlet colored, decked with gold, precious stones, pearls, having a golden cup in her hand full of what, y'all? Abominations and filthiness of her fornication. And upon her forehead was a name written, Mystery, Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots and abominations of the earth. And I saw the woman drunk with the blood of the saints and with the blood of the martyrs of Yeshua. And when I saw her, I wondered with great admiration. Verse number 7. Come on. And the angel said unto me, wherefore are you marveling at this? I'll tell you the mystery of the woman and of the beast that carries her, which has the 7 heads and the 10 horns. The beast that you saw was and is not, and shall ascend out of the bottomless pit and go into perdition. And they that dwell on the earth shall wonder, whose names, by the way, these people that will wonder, their names were not written in the book of life from the foundation of the world. They, when they behold the beast that was and is not and yet is, the beast that was, is not, and yet is. And here is the mind which hath wisdom. Listen, y'all, the beast that was and is not and yet is. This is the abomination. Everything about this is the abomination of desolation. Verse 9. And here is the mind which hath wisdom. Watch this. 7 heads are 7 mountains on which the woman sits. Okay. Y'all know I'm pausing for a reason. Nobody's asking, but I'm going to keep going. I'll bring it up myself later. And there were 7 kings, verse 10, and there were 7 kings, 5 are fallen, and 1 is. The other is not yet come. And when he comes, he must continue for a short space. And the beast that was and is not, even he is the 8th, and is of the 7, and he goes into perdition. Now, the 10 horns which you saw are 10 kings, which have received no kingdom as yet, but they receive power as kings for 1 hour with the beast. These have one mind, and shall give their power and give their strength unto the beast. You shall make war, these shall make war with the Lamb, and the Lamb shall overcome them, for he is Adonai, he is Lord of lords, he is Melech, he is King of kings, and they that are with him are called, chosen, and full of his word. Chosen and faithful. Somebody say, I am chosen. I am faithful. Come on.
I am chosen.
Not enough of y'all said that because y'all might be confused about what we're talking about. I want y'all to trust this right here prophetically and put yourself in a position that Ruach can hasten to you and say, I am chosen. I am faithful of Elohim. Say it again. I'll read it again so y'all know why we said that. These are them. These shall make war with the Lamb. The Lamb shall overcome them. And he is Lord of lords, King of kings. And they that are with him are called the chosen and the faithful. And they saith unto me, the waters which you saw, those were where the horse sits and her people and the multitudes and the nations and tongues. and the 10 horns which you saw upon the beast shall hate the whore, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire. For Elohim hath put it in their hearts to fulfill his will, and to agree and give their kingdoms unto the beast until the words of Elohim shall be fulfilled. And the woman which you saw is the great city that reigns over the kings of the earth.
So is the woman Jerusalem?
No. 7 hills are in Rome. 10 kings of the 10 nations that will join in this pact for one world government, one world order. The king, this last phrase here, the kings and the woman which saw this, with the woman which you saw, that great city which reigns over the kings of the earth. I'm going to ask you a question that you've been paying attention to in the BBC and the AP and the CNNs and the whatevers of the world who's talking about world issues and global issues. And those of you need to understand what's happening wartime in this climate globally. Israel is under great attack. Israel is even fighting with itself. There are internal wars that you and I in the Western Hemisphere, most of us, because you're seeing what's being propagated through the mainstream media. If you don't understand prophecy and you don't understand the times we're in, you have no understand the peril and the sorrows that we are a part of right now. This passage breaks down several things. There are 7 hills in Rome. There are 7 hills in Rome. Rome is the place of the Vatican. The Vatican is the seat of the Pope. The Pope is a prime candidate to die and be resurrected and show some great wonder. Just putting that out there, not wishing any evil on anybody. I'm just reading my Bible. So Rome is the place of 7 hills, the Vatican, and the Pope. Vatican is a nation. The city is a nation. So in case you didn't know it, if you got converted to Roman Catholicism here in the United States or in Cuba or in Mexico or in Mali or in South Africa or in Uganda or in Kenya, if you got converted to Catholicism, Roman Catholicism, under the Vatican, you are now dual citizenship because of your faith conversion. You now become citizen of the Vatican and a citizen of the nation you were born in. No questions asked, all because you converted into Roman Catholicism. Now, why did I bring that up? Because you being petty? No, because you need to know. In this Bible, he's been telling you who he saw and what he saw. He told you at first there's going to be 10 horns, 10 heads. There's going to be 10 crowns, 10 kings. There's going to be 7 mountains, 7 hills. Rome has the 7 hills. Rome has the Pope. Rome has the Vatican. Rome's nation is the wealthiest nation on the planet. No, for real. Y'all thought it was Switzerland. It was Switzerland for a long time. But what happened was about 40 years ago, Rome sent out a decree. 30 years ago, Rome sent out a decree to start liquidating all of its properties all over the globe. And so the Roman Catholic Church and the Catholic schools and the Catholic buildings of great, beautiful architecture and design, which they built for basically nothing, stable buildings of stone and real wood. And they began to sell it to Protestant Christians who wanted so bad to be like the Roman Christians that the Protestant Christians, Baptist, Methodist, Presbyterian, Church of God in Christ, how many of y'all go to a building that is your church or have been in a building that is your church that looks like a Gothic building, a Roman Catholic built building? No answer. Rhetorical. But think about it. They began to sell a lot of their properties and the schools that went with them. And so the Protestant churches would come in and get them, and they start their own schools and their daycare centers in those buildings. I'm teaching y'all something that you've been looking at the whole time but never knew how to connect it. Rome colonialized Catholicism and Christianity all over the globe. And then they called, when they did that, when they came into regions that they were now over governmentally, they built for next to nothing these buildings, best real estate places, greatest parcel of lands, biggest buildings. And by the time they are appraised, they are worth billions of dollars. And 30 to 40 years ago, they commissioned from the Vatican to liquidate. Guess who bought those buildings, y'all? Christians. Protesters of Roman Catholicism. Because we still trying to be like Roman Catholicism. They liquidated. They own so much property in every nation on the planet, it's crazy. Rome owned a fifth of the United States. They liquidated a great deal of that. Still has their ambassadorship, still has their status, still has their lobbyists rooted in every single solitary country. Let me show you how deep this goes. That last verse, the woman which thou sawest, that great city. Y'all thought it was Jerusalem? Vatican is a city that is a nation. I mean, literally, it's a city, but its status on the globe is a nation. And it's the wealthiest nation on the planet. Y'all not going to talk to me like y'all just heard the greatest news of the Bible. You know what? I am going to go ahead and I'm going to go to bed. I'll come back next week when I'm not as excited to teach y'all about it.
I'm learning today.
That great city which reigns over the kings of the earth, that part, that great city that reigns over the kings of the earth. Every major leader of the world visits the Vatican and pays homage to the Pope. Listen, when the UN, the United Nations of the globe, come together on any of the nation's platforms to have an event, whenever the Pope comes, something unique happens. If the United States goes to any place that the UN is, or we have a UN meeting here in the US of A, and the United States is the keynote speaker, or whatever major nation from the UK, whoever comes and speaks, when they come, there will always be seats nations in Africa, nations in South America, nations across in Australia, whatever. When they come for the UN kind of meeting, the gathering of the nations, if there is a keynote with the key issue, if it's any other nation, there will always be empty seats. These empty seats are dignitaries and ambassadors from all the nations on the planet, all of them that are affiliated and not having issues, but they are all there to be filled in. And when they come for a UN meeting, I don't care if it's G20, whatever it is, whenever there is a United Nations meeting, the only entity that has ever consistently filled every seat is the Pope. Let that sink in. And you can Google it. USA come, 29 seats missing. Another nation comes in, 13, 14 seats missing. When the Pope comes, filled to capacity. Y'all want me to keep teaching? Because I don't hear nothing. I don't know if I'm making sense to y'all at this point. So verse 18, and that woman which you saw that great city which reigns over the kings of the earth. So the person who fills all the seats at the UN technically is reigning over all the kings, don't you think? Or has their ears, don't you think? He's the only one that can go through every single solitary country and have the entire country on motorcade alert with him, no problem. They will not bomb him. They will not kill him. Y'all not going to talk to me, man. Yeah, well, I'm not going to keep sharing this information. All right, so this is what's going to happen. So these 7 hills, they will be able to formulate, because now they're telling you that Torah is an obsolete issue. That office of the Pope just said last month that the Torah is an obsolete and unnecessary element of our faith. Did y'all know that, Christians?
Yes, I remember that.
We too busy doing everything else. And now Israel uniquely is in a time of considered war. Netanyahu is jumping around privately on helicopters, trying to find a way to do his diplomatic and responsible issues as minister in his own nation. So now you got to understand that there has been something and some things that have infiltrated the capacity. So when this city on 7 hills acts like it's the city of the world's faith, that is anti-Messiah's throne. The Vatican is trying everything to be like Jerusalem. What I'm telling you, you will not hear throughout Christendom because nobody wants to raise a ruckus. I am not afraid to tell you the truth of revelation and eschatology. Your tour of duty, your job, soldier, is to know this and be dressed in your armor and be dressed with your helmet and be dressed with your feet and your armor on your breastplate, on your sword, with your shield, with your helmet of understanding what salvation is, so you understanding what this eschatology and these revelations are. He did not hide this from you. These kings are going to come in the great time of tribulation. The Pope is going to be that anti-Messiah revealed at the abomination of desolation, because it tells you here more times than not. There is going to be, if you go back up to verse number 5, on this forehead, there's going to be a mystery. Babylon, the great mother of harlots, the abomination of the earth. That's who this is. But it will look so good at the time of needing peace its power over all the nations, its ear to all the nations, will give way to making some action of peace, present global efforts of unity. And this is when he goes to dedicate the building. And the building of the temple, the rebuilding of the temple that Solomon was given permission to make, is what he will come to dedicate. When he comes to dedicate it, that's when any true Torah observer, any true Israeli will realize, oh my goodness, we messed up. His true colors will be seen the moment this anti-Messiah goes to dedicate the temple and that holy place. When he crosses that threshold, his colors and his garbs will come off and his colors will be seen. And they're going to be like, oh my God. And they got to run. That's what Matthew 24 is about, y'all. Y'all never connected them? Can anybody other than the people who are my amen corner say amen, or I'm learning something? I don't know. Maybe I don't think y'all have permission to talk. I don't know. But can I just need to know if y'all still here, because if y'all not here, I can go, I can just, you know, I can just turn this off and keep moving. All right, I'm gonna turn it off and keep moving. Well, Father, we thank you for the opportunity to teach your word. We did make it through chapter 17. I was hoping to get through chapter 18, Father, but I don't think they really want to know the rest of the chapters. You know what? I'm gonna stop my prayer here. I'm gonna go ahead and finish chapter 18 and be done with it. Okay, I want y'all to pay close attention to everything that we're talking about. Now, watch this closely as we move into chapter number 18. Pay attention. We're going to finish this. Chapter 18, and then that'll end this segment of the future things on the Great Tribulation. We've read chapter 6, chapter 8, chapter 9, chapter 11, chapter 16, chapter 17. Now we're going to do chapter number 18. Watch what it says. And after these things, I saw another angel come down from heaven. I saw great power. Let me give it to you on the screen. Let me give it to you on the screen. Watch this on the screen. I want you to catch it. Verse 1. After these things, I saw another angel come down from heaven, saying, great power, and the earth was lightened with his glory. He cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the Great is fallen, and is become, listen to this phrase, the habitation of devils, and the hold of every foul spirit, and a cage of every unclean and hateful bird. What? Wait a minute. What'd you say? Verse 2. Can I read verse 2 again? Can y'all see what verse 2? I'm just going to ask it, because if you've been through theology, if you understood this, if you understand eschatology, you know there's going to be the summoning of a great amount of birds. And he cried mightily, this angel did, with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the Great is fallen, and is become the habitation of devils, and the hold of every foul spirit, and a cage of every unclean and hateful bird. For all nations have drunk the wine of the wrath of her fornication. And the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her. And the merchants of the earth are waxed rich through the abundance of her delicacies. Verse 4, Yochanan says, and I heard another voice from heaven saying, woo, come up out of her, my people. What? Be not partaker of her sins, and that you receive not her plagues. Let me give y'all a PSA. Come up out of her, my people. He is in the spirit on the Shabbat day. Yochanan was in the spirit on the Shabbat day, and they said to him, come up hither, let me show you something. Then while he's at a plateau that he came up to show him what's going to happen that you and I might know, they then come to him and says, come up higher. Now tell the people, come up out of this whore. Come up out of this abomination. Come up out of her, my people. So he's in a prophetic moment and then given prophecy in the prophetic moment for those that would hear these prophecies, i.e. eschatology, i.e. these end of time teachings, i.e. you and I are on a tour of duty. Our job is to come up out of what Roman Catholicism created as a faith system that the entire world is connected to in some shape, form, or fashion. And the greatest selling book on the planet is what? The all-time selling book, the all-time bestseller, the all-time, all-nation, over the globe bestseller is what, y'all?
The Bible.
Do I need to explain this more? Let me reread the written, let it talk for us. And I heard a voice, verse 4, from heaven saying, come up out of her, my people, that you be not partaker of her sins. Could this have to do with the fact that we celebrating stuff because of the faith system that Yahweh never put in his word? So could they be saying come up out of the way they say do Sabbath? Is he saying we should come up out of the way they say do the communion that Yahweh put on the earth for him? And they said just use 2 crackers, do it every first of the month, or do it every single solitary day. Are we to come up out of all of the misinstructions, the anti-Messiah instructions? Let me keep reading. I heard another voice from heaven. This is an angel. Come out of her, my people, that you may not be partakers of her sins, and that you might receive not her plagues because of their actions. Look at verse 5. For her sins have reached unto Shamayim, and Elohim have remembered her iniquities. Remember what he says, woe unto them who teach people not to do the will of Elohim. And you know what? We can get so caught up. We can get so caught up in the fun of gathering, the way that is exciting and is sensual, and we miss following the instructions amidst our joy and excitement, that we think, oh, it's okay. God knows my heart. These are problems. Look at what he says here. For her sins have reached unto the heavens. Verse 5. Elohim has remembered her iniquities. Reward her even as she rewarded you, and double unto her double according to her works. In the cup which she hath filled, fill to her double. Wow. How much she hath glorified herself and lived deliciously. So much torment and sorrow, give that to her. For she had said in her heart, I sit a queen and am no widow, and shall see no sorrow. Therefore shall her plagues come in one day, and mourning and famine, and she shall be utterly burned with fire. For strong is Adonai our Elohim, strong is the word of God who judges her. And the kings of the earth who have committed fornication and lived deliciously with her, they shall bewail her, and they shall lament for her when they shall see the smoke of her burning. Rome's gonna burn again, y'all. standing afar off for the fear of her torment, saying, Alas, alas, that great city Babylon, that mighty city, for in 1 hour is judgment come. And the merchants of the earth shall weep and mourn over her, for no man buys their merchandise anymore. The merchandise of gold and silver and precious stone and pearls of fine linen, purple silk, scarlet, and all the thyine wood, and the manner vessels of ivory, and the manner vessels of those precious woods, and of brass, and of iron, and of marble, and of cinnamon, and the odors, and the ointments, and the frankincense, and the wine, and the oil, and the fine flour, and the wheat, and the beasts, and the sheep, and the horses, and the chariots, and the slaves, and the souls of men. And the fruits that thy souls lusted after, are departed from you. And all things which were dainty and goodly are departed from you. And thou shalt find them no more at all. Come out of her, my people. Come out of her, my people. Come out of her, my people. Kingdom versus Christianity. Come out of her, my people. The merchants of these things which, verse 15, were made rich by her shall stand afar off for the fear of her torment, the weeping and the wailing, saying, Alas, alas, the great city that was clothed in fine linen and purple and scarlet and decked with gold and precious stones and pearls. Verse 17, for in 1 hour so great riches is come to nothing. And every shipmaster and all the company and ships and sailors, and as many as trade by sea, stood afar off and cried when they saw the smoke of her burning, saying, What city is like unto this great city? Y'all kept being told, oh, that's America. That's not America. That's not China. That's not a mass of cities called a nation. That is a massive city of clout called a nation. This is a city. The only one who has brought such perversion and such diversion and such death and such lust and such abomination is that city. Now, I am not saying that the people of Catholicism are ignorant people. We're talking about, or bad people. I'm talking about the spirit that runs Catholicism. The people Yahweh once saved, that spirit that reigns in that place. Every human needs to come out of that way. I am not calling the existing and sitting Pope the anti-Messiah, but the spirit of anti-Messiah is already operating and its region has been identified. There can be a new Pope tomorrow. But when the time of great tribulation comes, that's where that seat is held. And this is a city. This is not the nation of America. Verse 19. Verse 18, one more time. And they cried when they saw the smoke of her burning, what city is like unto this great city? This is not Jerusalem. And they cast dust on their heads, and they cried, weeping and wailing and saying, Alas, alas, the great city, wherein we made rich all that had ships in the sea, by reason of their costliness. For in 1 hour she is made desolate. Verse 20. Rejoice over her, thou heaven, and you holy apostles and prophets. Elohim hath avenged you on her. And a mighty angel took up a stone like a great millstone and cast it into the sea, saying, Thus with violence shall that great city Babylon be thrown down, and shall be found no more at all. Verse 22, and the voice of the harpers and the musicians and the pipers and the trumpeters shall be heard no more at all in you. And no craftsman of whatsoever craft he be shall be found any more in you. And the sound of a millstone shall be heard no more at all in you. And the light of the candle shall shine no more at all in you, and the voice of the bridegroom and the bride shall be heard no more at all in you. Look at the indictment. Presently, the voice of the bridegroom and the voice of the bride is heard in this element, this city and its reaches. But the candle now is no longer going to shine in it. What do you think that candle, the light of what candle? No man takes a candle and puts it under a bushel, but he puts it on top of a candle stand so that it shines bright. That candle, meaning that there is knowledge of who Elohim is, but because of the way that this system and the spirit that is anti the word is allowed to shine, you still hear the voice of the bridegroom, you still hear the voice of the bride, but there's going to come a day, according to this that has been prophesied in eschatology, that voice and that light will no longer be heard or seen in that place. Verse 23, again, the light of a candle shall shine and no more at all in thee. The voice of the bridegroom and the bride shall not be heard at all in thee. For thy merchants were great men of the earth. Whoa. You thought it was funny when I kept telling y'all selling Christ, y'all selling this Christianity, y'all selling this light, y'all selling this voice, y'all selling this bridegroom, y'all selling this bride. What you think these merchants are? I just need one wow right there. I just need one wow so I can keep moving.
Wow.
For your merchants were great men of the earth, for by thy sorcery were all nations deceived. And in her was found the blood of prophets and of the saints and of all that were slain upon the earth. Future things, number 4, the Great Tribulation. I'm going to end here. Next week, we're going to come back with the last of them all, the future things, 5, which will be the revelation, of Messiah with his saints. So next week, you don't want to miss this so you can understand the things that you now seen that are actually connected and tied together. I want y'all to understand this, because when you start to see this and not be afraid of his word, you will see what Yahweh's been trying to tell the world for the longest. And we ourselves hiding our face and our necks and our heads inside of the dirt, playing pity pat with this anti-Messiah agenda, not realizing that Yahweh's been telling us to come out for the longest. He's been telling us to come out since Yochanan was in the spirit on the Lord's day. Remember, the book of Revelation is Yochanan on the Isle of Patmos being asked and escorted by the angels up into a place where he can see what Yahweh is going to do in the last day for the saints and against the saints and those that are against the saints. Well, Zion, I hope I've done a decent job keeping you guys informed. I know it's a lot. That's why I love my apostle Tira Malone. She was way ahead of her time. And people called her weird and strange and goofy, but everything in the news is playing out exactly as interpreted. If you didn't know about the 7 hills, you didn't know about the Vatican being a nation, you didn't know that the Vatican is the city of Revelation, you got to that's not a problem, but that's something to consider now. Because people are telling you, oh, the Babylonian, that's America. And then, okay. Well, America's not a city. The only 2 cities of massive significance in this war of good and evil are for good Jerusalem and for evil the Vatican. And I don't say that to come against good people that live there. There is a spirit that hovers there that is a part of predestined processing. You might be wrong. You know what? I could be. And therefore you have a right not to listen to me. And I'm not going to be mad at you if you don't. I'm okay if you don't see it the way that we see it. But what you just read, you now cannot unsee. And what you know intrinsically, you cannot say, that did connect. You can't say that. And I'm okay with you not receiving what I'm saying. And I'm okay with you receiving what I'm saying. All I want you to do is go search it out now. I can aid you and show you more, but this is a generalized programming for Christendom at large, because we never knew where we came from. So if you're on the preceding word earlier today, I taught you church history and how Christianity came to be. And the seat of Christianity is the city of the Vatican. Now we have, in Pastor Spencer's word, repurpose. She be saying, I try to get her accent. I can't get her accent right. We repurposed, Apostle, the word Christianity. Now we are different from the core construct. But I just need 5 people. Just, I need 8 people. For the number of 8 is the number of new beginnings. I need just 8 people to type in each thread that I have, YouTube, Facebook, Clubhouse, just 8 of all the people that view us. I just need 8 people to type in, and then I need 8 people to come off mic and say, I'll let that slide. Yeah, I want y'all to say it. In all you're getting, get understanding.
And all you're understanding.
It didn't sound like 8 people said it, but I'm going to just move on anyway.
And all you're getting, get understanding.
And I don't want y'all to say it because I begged y'all to say it. I want y'all to say it because you're like, wow, whoa, okay, I need to rethink that. Let me go recheck that. Let me go study. My greatest thing for you to do today is to go study this on your own. You get questions, you can come and ask me. But I promise you, you won't be able to ask everybody in Christendom about this because they have a preconceived doctrine.
That part.
So this is based on the word alone, not somebody else's commentaries. Ain't got nothing to do with Nostradamus. Ain't got nothing to do with the Mayans. Ain't got nothing to do with the Aztecs. It's got nothing to do with Kabbalahism. It's got nothing to do with all of the mysticisms. This is from what Yochanan, the prophet of Yahweh, had been given to write to us. Everything lines up with what he said previously. This event here, this battle of Armageddon, is going to be what that 7th angel pushes them to. So they can come and fight the Lamb. Once they fight the Lamb, can I give y'all a little, I know I gotta go. Can I give y'all a little secret?
Please.
Do y'all know that y'all see how bad the water is going to be? See how bad the water is going to be? All the waters have got some kind of poison in it. Do y'all know that? That's what's going to happen. That's what he's saying. But then there's going to be a battle of Armageddon. So once they fight at the battle of Armageddon, and we come behind him on clouds, who will fight with this battle at Armageddon. A sword, his word, go out of his mouth and slay all the military might fighting against Jerusalem. We not even going to fight. We just going to be dressed up. Flying in a cloud behind him. He fighting. We not fighting. The battle's not yours. It's Yahweh's. So when Yeshua comes with the word coming out of his mouth, destroying every military might of the 10 cities, 10 nations that joined this city to war against Jerusalem, will be coming behind him. when we come, the broken and need for healing earth is going to be affected. Once Messiah sits down on the throne after he wins the Battle of Armageddon, there are going to be captains, there's going to be princesses, there are going to be military mights, and there's going to be kings and queens all over this world, and their blood will be in the streets in Jerusalem up unto the horse's bridle. And Yahweh is going to have the birds of the air come and pick up from this banquet of flesh, and birds of prey, vultures, osps, all that eat flesh, eagles, falcons, whatever eats flesh, are going to come and clean up all this flesh from the military fight and that flesh suits. And then we are going to reign over all those vacant kingdom spots now. And when Messiah sits down at the capital of the world, which is why it's called to this day globally, uniformly, the Holy Land, Messiah will sit there. Now, here's the beauty that here's the secret. There is a fault line in Jerusalem. I'm going to touch this quickly. I'm going to get right off of it. That has so much fresh water underneath and nearby the Dead Sea. The Dead Sea is a place where it has primarily a salt concentration. And there is a fault line that is beneath that area, but in conjunction to that fault line is a massive amount of water tucked away in this third rock from the sun right now. Google it. It cannot be released. They have been trying and trying and trying for centuries with the technology we have to drill into this water. But if they do, it'll break the fault line. And the fault line, triggers earthquakes. And it's just too dangerous to drill into it. The Alaskan pipeline is technology designed to try and drill into that area where this fresh water is. It's a massive amount of water. And I got to thinking one day, and Yahweh says, why do you think I got the Dead Sea, all that salt, and this fresh water separated for right now? Because when Messiah comes back and puts his foot on the mountain and puts his foot in the city, that will be the division. That will be one over that fault line. And when he sits down, that water will then be released to clean the water that was damaged in the Great Tribulation.
Wow. Oh, that's a wow.
That's why humanity can't get to it. Messiah's got to come and release it. Why? Because after the Battle of Armageddon, guess what we do, people? We literally now are going to be in a millennial reign. 1,000 years on this earth right here. So that water has to be released to heal the waters that were affected by Yahweh pouring out his great wrath in the Great Tribulation. Should I have kept that to myself?
No, absolutely not. Not at all. No.
They're not teaching you that in school. I'm sorry. And after the millennial reign, there'll be another coup. And then Yahweh will destroy this earth and put it into the lake of fire. And as Peter says, it will burn with a fervent heat. But as we read in chapter 19 next week, there'll be a new heaven, a new Jerusalem come down. Yochanan saw the new Jerusalem. Not this one, a new one come down. So that means that there's a new Jerusalem, there's a new earth. And as prophesied, there'll be a new heaven and earth come down from Elohim. And those who dominated and those who reigned with him over the people who were on the earth that missed the rapture. Those that made the rapture will be the government in this earth during the 1,000-year reign. After the 1,000-year reign, the new heaven and the new earth comes. This is done away with. And we who made the rapture will reign and live on the new heaven. No sin, no drama, no competition, no liars in robes, no murderers, no backstab. All that is righteousness will be on that new heaven and new earth. And all the liars, all the religious, all the division that was on this rock, and everyone who didn't make the rapture will be gone to the lake of fire. It really ain't that hard, y'all. But when you got people playing mediator to the word, making you think you got to come through them to get the word, won't take you to the Bible so you can actually read the word with your own good eyes. You get people now prophesying to you and what this was and what this ain't, and miss the whole point of it. It's clear. It's clear. You can't unread that. Oh, he's a he's a modalist. Yeah, he's a modalist. Yeah, he's a literalist. Yeah, the Bible's and all this other stuff. All right, y'all. I gotta let this go. Okay, since I've got 10 minutes left, are there any questions and thoughts that anybody has? If you were on Facebook, please make your questions known. I hope a moderator to pick up YouTube and Facebook. If you in fact are on Facebook or Clubhouse, please make your name clear. Do not say apostle. Say your name. Our moderators will hear the names as they come in. You can even say them now if you got a question you got in store.
Florida.
And our moderators will get your name, put you in queue, and we got 10. I'll go 15 minutes answering questions on what you've heard tonight. First off, before we start questions, I want y'all to put your hands on your mics. Did y'all learn something that was worth your time? Did we waste your time here with this?
No time wasted.
No time wasted. Absolutely. Learning was
Learning was necessary.
All right, we got 15 minutes, moderators. Get me out of here. You heard the first name. I think it was Florida. And anybody else, if we're speaking and having a question, say your name, and our moderators will hear your name and put you in queue. First name come first basis. And we got 15 minutes. Ready? I think it was Florida. Anybody heard differently to me?
It was Florida.
All right. Go, Miss Florida.
This is Florida. My question or observation, however I want to say it, when you were talking about the hail that would be coming down in 60 pounds, correct?
Hail? Yes, the hail for a talent. A talent would be about 60 pounds.
Coming down in 60 pounds. I was getting an understanding as when these come down, they're really meant to kill you, but it's not going to kill you. But is it going to make you lame?
Oh, you gonna feel it.
Not ever get healed.
You gonna feel it. You gonna not you.
It, but I mean,
say I'm not gonna feel it.
Bones,
hold on.
like that.
Hold on, Florida. Hold on, Florida. Florida.
I'm sorry.
Say I'm not gonna feel it.
Well, I'm not gonna be here.
Because I'm not gonna be here. Exactly.
I'm not gonna be here.
Exactly. So hear me, y'all. And I did make this clear when I made that. I stopped for a second to say this. In the tribulation period, people, you're going to feel everything. You're going to smell everything. You're going to taste everything. There are, as we told you in chapters of this, chapters 6, 8, 9, you're going to be talking about locusts that got scorpion tails and lion's teeth. You're going to feel that sting. If you understand a scorpion sting in 72 hours, your whole body is in so much complication from the venom of it. You're going to feel it all and can't die. You read in chapters 9 and 11 that death is going to run from you. You're going to be running the rocks talking about fall on us and kill us. And death is like, yeah, no, the rocks going to be like, not going to fall on you. Not going to happen. And death is going to flee from you. So you are going to, not you. Say, not me, Father, I won't be here. Y'all say that. Say, not me, Father, I won't be here.
Not me, Father, I will not be here.
Yahweh, I don't want to be here. I won't be here. I promise you. Listen, I can say this out loud right now, and y'all know I'm not cussing. This has scared the hell out of me. That trip to hell I was planning and thought I might be able to skate through. This has scared the hell out of me. That scared the hell out of me. Listen, you're going to feel everything. Everything shall be felt. That's the part right there. And see, this is why we keep skating, talking about, oh, God knows my heart. Oh, he's so merciful. Oh, our God is so great. He's so merciful. He won't hurt a fly. In the end of times, he's destroying everything he made, and he's telling you how he's going to destroy it. And he told you he's going to pour out his fierce cup of wrath on all disobedient students and souls at the end of time. When he says time no longer, you are going to see the side of Elohim you thought was myth. You thought was mystical. You're going to see that side. You're going to see his judgment. That's why he says, only with your eyes, because it's going to be so detrimental, shall you see the reward of those who do wickedly in the earth. I'm not going to let you feel it. Somebody say, I'm pre-tribulation. Say it, I'm out of here. I'm pre-trib. Say I'm pre-trib. Say I'm pre-trib. He's not going to have you go through this if you lived and you made the rapture. If you make the rapture, you are not going through the 7 years of tribulation, which incorporate 3.5 years of great tribulation, which incorporate 3.5 years of confusion and chaos. If you don't make the rapture, and you've been playing around in Christianity and playing around in church, you know what's scary about that? If you've listened to anything I've been teaching and happen to go back over this to prove me wrong, you will know everything that's going to happen when the phases start to happen. You'll be like, oh, shoot, here comes the second. Whoa, why didn't I get ready? You're going to be like that guy looking at having Lazarus at his door. Remember the rich ruler Yeshua talked about, the rich man that Yeshua talked about, the rich man and Lazarus, how they were both alive, and the rich man begged for alms out front of the Lazarus begged for alms out front of the rich man's house, and the rich man treated him in any old kind of way, whatever, right? And the dogs had to lick his wounds, and he was right outside the rich man's house. So one day the rich man died and Lazarus died at the same time. Lazarus woke up being comforted in the arms of Abraham, and the rich man is like in hell, in torment. Well, you can't appreciate torment if you can't feel it, can you? You can't be thirsty unless you are dry, unless you can feel thirst. So he tells the father Abraham, he says, Father Abraham, that boy in your bosom right now, he was out front of my house for decades. We treated him wrong. Will you please send him back to my people's house to tell them, don't come down here. What we thought was a myth is real. That's what it's going to be like in that day for Christians who keep up with this foolishness and not understand Yahweh's Torah. And we still talk in kingdom, but won't convert to kingdom because we are still trapped in our Christian value. Our church way. I said that with my heart. And I'll take my last breath and I will not recant what I said. We got to do this. If we're going to do it, we got one chance, because what's going to happen is we're going to search the Bible for all the prophetic moments of God and all the prophecies of God. And we have been given them. And now we're going to search it so we got something to preach, not something to actually live. And should the amount of people I think Mr. Rapture, make Mr. Rapture, they're going to know step by step, play by play, blow by blow, what's going to happen the entire time before they head off to the lake of fire, where they will not die. Florida, does that make even more crazy sense?
Yes, sir, it does.
Does that scare the hell out of anybody else but me? Does that scare the trip to hell out of you? Because
Yes, sir. Absolutely. Yes, sir.
All right, moderators, who's next? Anybody?
Charlotte. Okay. Charlotte.
Go, Charlotte, go. Is that Ambassador?
Grace and peace. Yes, sir.
Shalom Aleichem. How are you? Good to have you today.
Grace and peace, Apostle. You talked about the rich man and Lazarus. So 3 quick questions. So when people say that they died and went to hell and that the Lord sent them back, I'll be thinking about that sometime, but I just want to say that. And then Apostle, then it's a thing going around on eschatology on this Clubhouse app. I go in several rooms and they're like challenging me to say I heard it before, but I never heard this teaching before. They said that it's a teaching about Revelation has been fulfilled and that Yeshua has already come back for the second time. Have you heard that?
All right.
This teaching blessed me because it's deception going on.
Well, remember, Yahweh said he is going to send, listen, y'all, a spirit of delusion. He's going to send, Yahweh is sending a lying spirit that even the very elect can be deceived by it. Yahweh is sending it. Why? Because he wants to prove and wants you to prove you know him. He's going to do it. He's going to give you every chance to be able to say, no, that's a lie. That ain't what the words say. He is sending the lying spirit. And we are so nonchalant, so cavalier. So let me talk about the doctrine that is out there. It's been out there to long time. And yeah. Well, again, this was out here, but it was in the avenue of the Jewish people in their combating with Christendom. This goes back centuries, that you are already living in the last days. We're not living in these days. The rapture has not taken place. So what they say is the second coming. One group, to get all to it right now, I'll do a teaching on preceding word about how it all came and give you step by step and phase by phase for that doctrine, so you know how to actually not compete, but to actually have a word to speak to it. The reason they say that Messiah has come the second time is because he was born, right, in the earth. He resurrected. He ascended, Miriam, don't touch me. And then he came back to give them the gospel according to the kingdom, and then ascended again. In essence, y'all, that's where they get that from. So if he came the first time he was born on the earth, he died, resurrected, and then ascended into heaven. So he left the earth to come back down for 40 days to teach his disciples. They're saying that's his second coming.
But revelations hadn't been fulfilled, right, Apostle? Absolutely
not. He came to tell us the revelation. He came to share with us what's going to happen. He came to tell us how to live. And the fulfillment, he even said, not one jot nor one tittle of the words I'm giving you will pass away or will not happen this earth won't pass away until one jot or one tittle, until every jot and every tittle of this word I'm teaching you comes to pass. And it shall be. That's the whole purpose of Yochanan being taken up on the Isle of Patmos into the Spirit on the seventh day, on the Sabbath day, and be given a revelation of who Yeshua HaMashiach is and why he came. That's some powerful and dynamic stuff. I hope that helped. So I happened to try to play nice on Clubhouse the other day, and I don't really do it often because I know that Clubhouse is about a bunch of people who don't have platforms to speak from, don't have churches, think that they were being, ridiculed in their churches. So now they got a platform and trying to make churches and ministries from their likes and followers. Clubhouse, now Facebook, now YouTube pastors. And it's nothing against you being able to lead people and all that. But a lot of the things that I hear about eschatology are from people who are not even intellectually educated or seminarically educated, but it's from people who really just want to be out here talking and have people follow them. But y'all gotta be careful. You will lead life's shipwrecked, and Yahweh will hold you accountable for the lives you wreck. And he says, woe unto them, whether you meant it with a good heart or whether you meant it maliciously, and you do not teach them to do the things Yahweh put in his book of instructions. Woe unto those pastors. Woe unto those shepherds who teach my people not to do my word. Everybody trying to be a leader. Everybody trying to be a speaker. Everybody trying to be a coach. And just because you hold the book of the Bible in your hand don't mean you're qualified at this phase of life, just knowing it, holding it, to teach it. Let it teach you and you live it. And when people ask you why you move like you move, be able to reference to it. Here's why. See? That's the real way to lead. So Ambassador Charlotte, and tell your husband I said shalom, miss him. Listen, all of this is exactly that. We hear so many doctrines, and I listened to one person. I had to bow my head, and Yahweh said, no, stay and listen, because you need to know what people are contending with in these spaces. And I know since I've been teaching on eschatology and making my broadcast known all over certain platforms, that people then say, oh, well, let me talk about eschatology. Some of the doctrines along with that one that come out about what's going to happen in the end times is coming from somebody else's commentary. It's not coming from the words that Yahweh gave Yochanan and put in the book of Revelation. And then they were piecing together different things that may be relevant, but not properly interpreted from the Tanakh, the prophets such as Daniel and Ezekiel. And they need to be incorporated because they speak for Elohim. But you people got to be careful wanting to be great, wanting to be a teacher, wanting to be somebody that everybody knows, because the merchants, I'm going to go back to this passage, Revelations chapter 18, verse 23. I'm going to put it on the screen. I want y'all to see it. The light of the candle shall shine no more at all in you. The voice of the bridegroom and the bride shall no longer be heard in you. For your merchants, those who sold this, were the great men of the earth, and for by thy sorcery the nations were deceived. Y'all don't realize that a sorcerer, let me be nice, okay? Let me be nice. Sorcery ain't out in the world, y'all.
Come on, Apostle. Come on.
Sorcery ain't out in the wicked. They not running sorcery. Sorcery are those who are convoluting the writ, convoluting faith, convoluting your emotions, convoluting that which you seem to be vulnerable to and susceptible to and gullible to, and then using you for their benefit and their their profitability. That's sorcery. And once they get you thinking that they have some spiritual power, you give them power over you. That's sorcery. That's witchcraft. And they make you go through them to get anything from God. Dear heart, that's why I have the Bible sitting here. I want you to read it with me you see it for yourself, the whole chapter, not one verse. You read the whole chapter. You read the whole book. You see it for yourself. And if what I say don't make sense, you tune off and go somewhere else. And I don't want authority over you. My job is to live this world and live this life. This is how we study. This is how we know that we please him. And even in your failures, even in your successes, you know how to pick yourself up from your fall. You know how to keep yourself humbled in your rises. See, that's kingdom. And you can't just take kingdom principles and just drag them into the church to preach them, because they're different than what's being preached in Christendom in the church. And now because you got this new thing to preach and you ain't living, you may be talking about kingdom, but you are not complying with kingdom. And you're still in a lie. You're still in a system. You're still a merchant in sorcery. My email going to be filled with some hate mail today. Father, I pray you now answer everyone that comes in the name of Yeshua HaMashiach. Can anybody pray for me that Yahweh will answer them? Ambassador, that was 2 questions. What's your third?
Apostle, I was reading in Revelations the other night. I can't remember where, but it was talking about he'll remove the candlestick. Was that candlestick talking about false apostles, prophets, evangelists, pastors, teachers? Because it talked about removing that candlestick.
When he removes the candlestick, all right. I don't know if you're looking. I don't know if you're on Facebook. I think no, you're on Clubhouse. I'm hearing you. Boy, I hope we can catch this. When Yahweh removes the candlestick, I don't think we understand the candlestick and its position as a prop for the kingdom. The candlestick represents the light of the word, to be a light in the world. When the rapture takes place, he's removing the candlestick. Darkness is all left on the earth, save those 144. And in the time of the Great Tribulation, when all them that have not accepted the beast, the mark of the beast, and they have died, and the 144,000 come out, once the faithful are gone, Ruach HaKodesh is gone. Adonai is gone. The earth is now in darkness. He will remove that candlestick. That's why he's talking to the 7. You read that when he was talking about the 7 churches, Ambassador.
Yes, sir. Mm-hmm. Yes, sir. That's where it's at.
Right. That's a whole nother teaching. So that'll go. It's all connected, but that's what that means. When he removes that candle, I'll remove your candlestick. The word will become from you and you'll fall for any divisive lie. Even Yahweh said, I keep telling y'all, Yahweh said he's going to send the spirit of delusion. He's going to send a lie, because you've been saying, I know God, I know God, I know God. He's going to cause false prophets. He's going to cause false teachers to come and share with y'all. And y'all going to let them just teach and talk to your people any old kind of way and let you just get rich and profit off of them. And y'all was like, when y'all gonna call Cap? When y'all gonna call Cap? So that this way, when you do stand before him, he'll tell you, you said you knew me. I sent something that was a lie about me, and you got dressed in it and wore it around like you had a new revelation about me. You didn't even know it was a lie, because you were so deep trying to profit yourself And profiting yourself may not have been just about money. It was about getting clout, in this day getting likes, in this day getting followers. All right. I'm going to leave that there. Does that answer your candlestick issue to some degree, Ambassador?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Thank you for adding value. Moderators, who's next? What's next? What's on cue? And tell your pastor, tell Pastor I said shalom.
Yes, sir. He heard you, Apostle, and then he walked back out.
All right, great. Moderators, I think I heard you over Ambassador's voice. What you got?
Ambassador was the last one on cue, Apostle.
Thank you very much. All right, everybody. I don't see anything on YouTube. I don't see anything on Facebook. If you learned today, would y'all help me? Type it in on all of our platforms and say, I have learned kingdom today. That's right, Pastor Simmons. He is the light. He being the light, because the light, John 1, is the word. In John 1, he makes it very clear. He is the light. He is the light. The word is actually the light. The human is the candlestick. But in John 1, it relatively the same. It is good. Just put the two together. We still good. Verse 1, John 1 says, in the beginning was the word. The word was with Elohim. The word was Elohim. In the same was the beginning with the word. All things were made by the word. Without the word was not anything made that was made. In him was life. And that life, the word, was the light of men. And that light carried through Yeshua, shined in darkness, and darkness comprehended it not. Go down to verse number 14. And the word was made flesh. That flesh is the candlestick. The word is the light. That word dwelt among us, and we beheld his glory as the only begotten of Yahweh, full of grace and truth. So yeah. Let us take opportunity to pray. We're 2 hours in, so I'm not going to give you guys all of our normal spiel to get out of here. Just remember that, Saints, we're going to be having some announcements where we have some times coming up. April the 4th, those of you who want to keep yourselves in a way of being in alignment with his word, you know that the Feast of Yahweh, you're going to be hearing a lot of different doctrines on Clubhouse, on Facebook, on YouTube. Listen, y'all, it's in the word. It's already spelled out. It's a prescription. Somebody say his word is a prescription for my life. Say his word is a prescription for my life. You don't have to go make up anything. You ain't got to go make up first fruits. You ain't got to go make up percentages. You ain't got to go make up offerings. He already told you what he wants. He's already shown you what he has to give and what he wants from you. Go into his word. So Pesach is coming up on Nisan 14. That's going to be April the 4th. You want to bring your lamb. Hakat Matzah will be the day after that. You want to bring your lamb. And then Nisan 16, the day after that, will be April the 6th at sundown. You want to bring your first fruit offerings. What is the first fruit offering, Apostle? Well, your first fruit offering is, in fact, on 16th, I put it on the screen so y'all can see it, a lamb per income stream, with fine flour, fine oil, and fine wine. All right. So your lamb offering, each lamb is monetized. We went and checked for every single solitary butcher that we have in our circle of kosher butchers with the specialties that the prescriptions require. Those lambs being premium, those lambs are $330. And we reduced that. We didn't even let us charge the whole price that they were charging as butchers. We took the low end of that scale. And then you add your first fruits, you add your oil, you add your flour, you add your wine. That's at $120. That gives you a $450 first fruits offering per income stream. Now you also have on the 14th, as again, you have one lamb per household. So that's what you give. That's the Pesach. That's the Passover meal. That's the Pesach meal. That's the communion meal. That's communion. The 14th of Nisan is the communion meal. You only do this once a year on this day, the 14th of Nisan, and it was not on a Good Friday, and it was not on a Sunday. It's whenever that time comes, and you got to know that day in correlation to your Gregorian calendar schedule. Stop generalizing it, come out from among them, and do it right. And bring to him what he wants. Don't come before him empty. There's a prescription for what Yahweh wants you to bring. We will give profits and budgets for programs, any kind of wild, crazy offering that they ask for, trying to make this ridiculous budget. And Yahweh has given us a prescription for how to please him, so he can take whatever seed he asks you for and make it fruitful harvest of return for you in not many days thereafter. But we'll go and give money away to think that's God moving and think that we did. Listen, y'all, give him what somebody say, give him what he wants. Can I hear that? Say, give Elohim what he wants.
Give him what he wants.
And I promise you, he'll give you everything and more than what you need. Then you have, so therefore you have on the 14th of Nisan, that's the day we eat the lamb. We'll be right here live and broadcast. For those of you, you have to RSVP for it. We'll be sending that out by the end of next week. So if you want to RSVP, please let our moderators know. Moderators, if anybody inboxes you, matter of fact, don't inbox them. You inbox me directly on my VW platform, my VW PTR. Those of you who are on Facebook and YouTube, most of you are already citizens of the kingdom. You know the deal, but make sure that you let me know that I intend and how many that you will be attending that meal, so I can make sure that you get your Zoom invitation and be a part of that, because it will be only for those who are in the know. This is not something that everybody publicly can just come to. This feast of Pesach is private. It's for them who are in the know. Well, why you don't let the whole world in, Apostle? Because they come, watch this, y'all. Can I share this with y'all? May I share this with y'all?
Yes, please.
Do you remember when Messiah gave a parable teaching and he told the disciples, he said, listen, there was a parable of a man who was a great king, and he was having a wedding for his bride, for his son. And he told the people he was over in the kingdom, his noblemen, his knights, and all that he had ordained and set and dubbed as knights and people and alliances. And he told all of them to come to a supper the great king had prepared for his son to get married. And then he said that the people gave him all kind of excuses not to come. Watch this. Then he made the statement and said that, okay, them that don't come, fine. Cancel their prescription, their tickets, go out into the streets and grab the people from the streets and bring them in. Watch this. Because they knew the value as kingdom people who would not usually get this invitation, what it meant to come in. But then there was a group that came in, one guy in particular, and he comes in, he knows he's going to see the king. He knows this is a dignitary event. And he does, it's not that he don't have it. He just chose to come any old kind of way. And the king looked at him and says, now you knew you were coming into my chambers. Why are you not dressed for the wedding? See, everybody's not in that right kilter in space. It's like, well, you should be letting everybody in the kingdom come. No, this is invitation only. This is RSVP. That's why the 5 virgins who didn't have their oil couldn't get in, because they were in the know, but they didn't prepare to go. Make that a quote. We can sometimes be in the know, but not prepare to go. That's just like heaven. That's just like the rapture. Many of us are in the know, but if the rapture took place, are we really prepared to go? Ooh, child, things are gonna get easier. So why don't you just show this to everybody else? I mean, this would be something everybody wanted to be a part of. No, You got to know what this is about to be there. You can't just be there as a fly on the wall, as a spectator looking around to see who doing what, like you usually do in Christendom. No, this is kingdom. Everybody here comes for the purpose of why we're here. They come dressed for the purpose. They come carrying the offering for the purpose. They come carrying the spirit of introspection and honor and honor to him. We come unified on one purpose. Oh, how good and pleasant it is for brethren to dwell together in unity. Brethren to dwell together in unity in that place. No spectators, no people trying to see what's going on. Well, maybe I might come, and if I feel led, I do. You don't belong. Until you know why this event happens, you need not come. Well, I want to learn. That's different. If you want to learn and you want to learn, then you're going to want to learn by complying with what goes on in that place. Because in that place, everybody must be on one accord. Well, I'm going to come and see what they're talking about. Don't come. Find out before the event. Since you knew enough about it to RSVP for it, find out before the event. So this is an RSVP. You don't know what you do in that event, don't be there. Why? Because everybody in there must be on unity for the same purpose. Well, I ain't got it to give. That ain't the issue of having it to give. It's the issue of knowing why the event takes place. Well, I'm new to this. Wonderful. But make sure you get with someone or contact me, and we'll make sure that you really have the mentality, because everybody ain't able. How dare you say that, Mr. Apostle, man? I liked it you for a minute. Now I don't know what to think about you. Why won't you let me participate? Bro, that's not cool, man. I want to come. Do you really? Cool. Let's learn about it together then. Let's learn. I will take the time to study so you understand what it's about. But when you come, you must be compliant. And if you're not willing to be compliant, or you're not willing at least to understand how to become compliant, that's not the place for you. Wow. Right. Oh, how good and pleasant it is for brethren to dwell together in unity. Because when you really have a mind to say, you know what, man, I never knew this. Thanks for teaching me about this. Thanks for showing me this prescription. Look, I'm not prepared, but I really want to be a part. Fine. We pray. I'll show you things in the writ that now, because you really have a heart to know, you really have a heart to be there. You're not trying to be there just to spectate and find something new you can go preach. Now your mind, your humility, your level of understanding is there that you are ready to be in that environment. Oh, it's different. It's different than any church conference you've ever had. All right. So make sure you know that on the 14th, we have Pesach as a meal. You make your lamb, get your lamb, you'll eat your lamb. We'll talk more about this on Sunday as well. Then on the 15th and the 21st, we'll be having that same type of service. On the 15th and the 21st, which are the 5th of April and the 11th of April, we'll be coming together right here, same place, RSVP. Let us know you want to be at Pesach. You want to be here for all the events. You want to be off from work. You want to be not doing work, not taking your children ain't going to school. Your whole house is subject to Elohim in this day. This is what the prescription of Yahweh's instructions are about. And then, of course, we have the most holy day of this particular, one of the most holy day, most holy day of this season, and that is going to be Hag Bikurim, the first fruits. This is where Yahweh blesses your income streams because of the resurrection of our son, his son, our savior, and we move into that vein. And then, of course, 50 days after the 16th, we come into the second first fruits, and that is called Shavuot, mistakenly called Pentecost. 2 lambs, 2 loaves with the leavened bread. All right, everybody, those are some of the announcements. Remember that we are here every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday teaching the proceeding word. Again, as you know, we're here on Wednesday nights for what you're in right now, the Bible study. And this tour of duty will conclude next week with the last chapter reading for Eschatology. And then, of course, on every Thursday night, we're doing the Bible reading all the way through the Bible. You're able to join that. Come on in freely. We want you to learn the writ and understand it. Just take our time to magnify the scriptures and understand what Yahweh wants of us in that space, in that time. And then, of course, as you know, we are Sabbath keepers here in this ministry, and we take the Shabbat very, very seriously. We come together usually sometime around Friday around 11 p.m. and then maybe around Saturday 11 a.m. for those who might want to be able to stay focused on keeping Torah, teaching Torah, reading Torah in those 24 hours days of the Shabbat. All right. And then, of course, after that, the next day is the morrow after Sabbath service, where again, we'll be teaching on the feast we just talked to you about. I want you guys to be prepared. I want you guys to be ready for it. And I pray that you have been. Right now, we're going to take the opportunity to receive from you all what is customary also, and it's going to be time for our tithing and our offerings. We believe that tithing is a commandment of Elohim. We don't browbeat you about it. We don't tell you anything to give. It's already written in the scriptures. He told you what to give. You know it. If you're a part of the citizenship, you know you bring your tithing. If you're not a part of this citizenship, take your tithing away. You go to fellowship. But if you're here learning and coming in, you may leave an offering if you want to just say, hey, I learned something. Here's something to encourage you guys that you bless my heart. You want to sow a seed. You have that opportunity and option to do that now. Floating upon the screen, you'll see how you can contribute to this ministry, your tithing and offerings. You can visit vwministries.com, hit the yellow donation button at the lower right part of the screen. We also have, of course, Cash Apps, Venmo, Zelle. I know we sang the song. Okay, fine. All right. So we're going to let you guys go now. I'm going to pray over you and pray for your souls. And I want you not to leave until we've done that. Father, we thank you for your word, your will, and your plan. We ask you that the words that we've spoken tonight have been spoken. We ask that the words of our mouths and the meditations of our hearts have been acceptable in your sight, Yahweh. You are our strength. You are our redeemer. You are our keeper. I pray you. If I've talked anything or spoke anything in error, correct me, show me the correction. I will make it publicly known. And Father, for those of them who don't know and never heard before, help them not throw this away before they consider for themselves and study for themselves the very words that have been rendered. I pray you now for those that don't know Yeshua and the pardon of their sins, that Father, they accept and pray this prayer. Yahweh, we know that you sent Yeshua to live, to die in the earth. We know that your power raised him from the dead of the cross, which is the manifestation of Pesach. We're asking you right now that your blood cleanse us from our sins, every lie, murmuring, complaining, proud spirit, arrogant spirit, narcissistic spirit, whatever it is we could have done, covetous spirit, we ask you to wash us in the blood. We confess those sins. And you said if we confess our sins, you be faithful and just to forgive us of our sins and cleanse us of all unrighteousness. So we bow down before you for that purpose. Save our very souls. We surrender all to you, and your blood we cleanse by your word. Now wash us new and give us the strength to carry on. In the mighty name of Yeshua HaMashiach, guide us by his ensample, we pray. Amen. All right, everybody. It's been a joy and a pleasure to be with you. Don't leave yet. We want to give you the benediction. The benediction is something that always has to happen. You want to make sure you have a cap for all that stuff y'all got right now. So you want to can all you get all you can, and then can all you get. The benediction is how you cap everything you've received in today. We've poured into y'all quite a bit. And some of the stuff, it just went so fast. You will have to go back over this in your mind to really flesh it out. Okay, I gave y'all more information in this segment than you probably received in a whole year in certain churches. Trust me. So I want you to know that. We want to give you the benediction so you seal it. Don't lose it. Hold on to it. All right. And don't forget, before you leave, to go to vwministries.com. Well, the benediction is on this wise. We pray that Yahweh would bless you and keep you. That's earnest. We pray that his shalom rests upon you. And the shalom of Elohim is, in fact, harmony, wholeness, health, soundness of mind, completeness, fullness, rest for your soul, wealth, safety, tranquility, prosperity, perfectedness, welfare for your being. That is the shalom of Elohim. So when we pray this over you, know we're praying all 13 of those attributes over your life per Yahweh's instructions for you to receive them. Okay. Now we're going to do that right now. So I want you to take your opportunity to just follow in this process. But remember, you're welcomed here. You are loved here. You are a part of Yahweh's family. So we prepare a table of this smorgasbord for you, free of charge, no strings attached. But if you don't get this kind of meal where you're churching, or maybe you don't have a church home, please feel free to contact us about becoming a citizen of this kingdom of heaven, Kingdom Post. We're in the earth, manifesting and demonstrating his will on the planet. If you want to become a citizen of this particular Kingdom Post, contact us. We'd love to show you how to do that, and I'll study with you every day whenever you need to, and we'll make sure you can get caught up on all the things we've been dragging all of our life and ministries. So let's take this opportunity to pray out. Put your palms to the ceiling, hands in front of your chest like you're expecting Yahweh to pour out the blessing you don't have room enough to receive. The Bible says Yahweh told Moshe to put my name on the people and I will bless them. May Yahweh bless you and keep you. May Yahweh make his face to shine upon you and be gracious unto you. May Yahweh lift his countenance upon you and grant you all 13 attributes of his shalom. Bring your hands back to your chest like you're carrying a trove of goodies and just rock them in your bosom and say these words. I receive that in the name of Yeshua HaMashiach. It's spiritual, but it's true. All right, everybody, one last announcement, and we're going to let you guys go. And I hope to see you again tomorrow night for the Bible Book Club.
Thank you for tuning in today. I hope that this message has been a blessing to your very life and your soul, and more importantly, your walk with the King. Well, we have come to the end. I hope that you would consider becoming either a partner with us in ministry, or if you're not already a kingdom citizen, consider becoming one. By doing that, you can sow into this ministry so that we are able to continue to teach this type of ministry at a grand scale. Join us on all of our social media platforms and visit our webpage to make your contributions sure. Thank you. Have a wonderful day. Shalom Aleichem.
Let's talk kingdom. He's the one you can lean on. He don't change, he stays the same. Won't find a better reason, no. So come tap in, just listen. And bring a friend, let's spread this vision. Let's talk kingdom. He's the one you can lean on. He don't change, he stays the same. Won't find a better reason, no. So come tap in.